All right, everybody, how's it going? eCom Tommy with another video coming at you guys. And before we get started in this video, I want to ask you guys a question. Are you guys struggling with scaling your eBay dropshipping business, hopefully manual eBay dropshipping business? Are you struggling with scaling? Do you have no idea where to start, or you're having trouble running it all on your own? And if so, please leave a comment below, pause the video, leave a comment below, say what your biggest struggle with scaling your manual eBay dropshipping business is. And one thing I want to point out that I've realized over time is that the people that have trouble scaling their business are doing things that all of these people that are having success aren't doing. There's this number one thing that these people are afraid to do. And if you're having trouble scaling your business, you are most likely afraid to do this one thing too. And this one thing that I want to point out to you guys is hiring virtual assistants. So the title of this video talks about how to double your sales, and the number one way to do so is by hiring out. You cannot be doing this whole business on your own. And I want to explain this in the PowerPoint slide that I have to follow after this intro. And I really want to go into depth as to, pinpoint what is your sticking point and why you are not hiring these virtual assistants. And I believe that anybody out there can hire virtual assistants, can train them properly, and will be able to, whenever they want, right away, get started sooner rather than later. And I'll explain this all in the PowerPoint slide after this. But if you do like this content and if you do want to see more of this, please hit the like button right now. And, also please subscribe to the channel. I do want to get this channel up to 10,000 in the next 3 to 4 months, and I can't do it without your help. So without further ado, thank you guys very much, and I'll see you inside the PowerPoint. Here we are inside of the PowerPoint slides that I made for this video on how to double your sales on eBay, and this is through hiring virtual assistants. So before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to this channel if you do like this content. And like I already did say, if you like what you see, please smash that like button just like this guy here. Don't knock your phone out of your hand or whatever. But so here's a quick breakdown of basically what I think about when I'm hiring virtual assistants and why everybody should be hiring virtual assistants right off the bat or as soon as possible inside of their business. So first off, you cannot do all of the work yourself. I've seen time and time again students trying to do all of the work themselves, trying to do work inside of their business and just do everything on their own. And, I've been there. Everybody's been there when they first start. And it's really that you cannot be doing this. If you're doing customer service, if you're doing ordering, if you're doing listing, if you're doing product sourcing, if you're doing all of this every single day, it ends up being a full-time job or some form of a job after a while. And if you just outsource to some of these tedious tasks, it's going to take so much stress and so much time off of your hands. It's completely changing to how the way your business is run. So first off, secondly, there's cheap hourly wages. You can pay them anywhere between $2 to $4 an hour. Task specific, some of the tasks are worth more than other tasks. I'd say customer service is worth more than, item sourcing and listing, just because it's more of a specialized task and they need to, know more English in order to do so and speak it fluently, or at least decently fluently. One thing a lot of people never really talk about, which I don't understand why, is you can reinvest your profits into account growth. So instead of saying, hey, I made $200 or $300 profit this month in my first month, my first brand new eBay dropshipping store month, you can take those profits and just put them back in your business. That's how businesses grow extremely quickly. You reinvest your profits. $200, $300 here really isn't that much money, but if you put it into growing your account and getting it up to a point where your account now makes $2,000, $3,000 a month, or $4,000 a month, or $5,000 a month, then you're actually making some real money, a real sustainable income of some sort, of either a side income or a full-time income. And all it took was just reinvesting some of your initial profits. Instead of going out and spending it, spend it inside of your business to grow it quicker. That's the same thing goes with getting specific softwares that some people are like, oh well, I don't want to pay the $25 a month, but how much money is that going to save you over time, or how much time is that going to save you in the long run if you get that software? That's the way I always look at it. You can't be stingy in business. You need to be spending money where you need to be allocating money in growth inside of your business. So there'll be no more repetitive tasks for you if you don't want them to be. You don't have to be doing these repetitive tasks like item sourcing all the time or listing items all the time. You just don't have to be doing it. It really doesn't need to be a thing that you do. I've been outsourcing that for almost 2 years now, or a year and a half at least. And, I love every single bit of it. Of course, if not something new comes up, I have to learn it, teach it to my VAs myself. But besides that, make sure that you are outsourcing the repetitive tasks that you hate to do every day. Because if you hate to do that task, if you really hate to do it, you're either not going to do a good job, or you're not going to be able to will yourself into doing it every single day, which is then going to hurt your business because you're actually putting off and not doing the things you need to do in order for your business to grow, which is really the number one issue I've seen with a lot of people out there, where they don't like a task, but they don't want to outsource it because they don't want to spend the money, but they aren't going to do the task task themselves because they hate the task. You know, it's like it kind of just self-perpetuates on itself. So work on your business, not in your business. And I'm sure if you've watched a lot of my videos, you've heard me say this a lot. And it's work on growing your business. Don't work inside of your business doing the day-to-day tasks. You don't need to be doing that. You can outsource for that. And lastly, one of the number one concerns I've seen with hiring virtual assistants is putting checks in place to protect your information. A lot of people think that, oh, I'm going to get this frauded or this is going to happen. None of that's ever happened to me. As long as you put the actual checks and balances into place and you hire good virtual assistants, you should not have to worry about that. So let's do a little cost analysis. One of the number one concerns I always hear is, Tom, they cost too much. I don't have $200 or $300 a month to pay for one virtual assistant, let alone 2 or 3. Well, first off, you don't have to hire your virtual assistant full time, as in 40 hours a week. You don't have to do that. You could hire them 10 hours a week, which is 40 hours a month. You could hire them 20 hours a week, part-time, 80 hours a month. So let's just say that you want to hire a virtual assistant part-time at 10 hours a week. And you're going to do this for 1 month straight. So 10 hours a week, and let's just say that it's $3 an hour. That means you're paying that virtual assistant $30 a week. At $30 a week times 4 weeks in a month, you're paying that virtual assistant altogether $120 per month. That's not as bad, and it's not that much compared to $200 or $250 or $300 or $400. I know some people might pay their virtual assistants a month. You don't have to be paying them full time. You really don't have to. It's not necessary right in the beginning if you don't need them to. And if you're doing 10% profit, like I know a lot of people are doing with manual dropshipping front end or all together, let's just say you're making sales at 10% profit, whether that's front end or front end plus back end, that is literally paid for if you do $1,200 in sales in a month, literally in 1 month. Of course, yeah, there's the eBay store and everything else, but if you're doing close to $5,000 in sales a month, which anybody can do by themselves without virtual assistants. A lot of the students are doing it within their first month. Like I said, many students are doing $1,200 in sales in a day. We've had many students hit that. You are literally paying for your virtual assistant in 1 day of sales if you hit $1,200 in sales. It is not that expensive, guys. You do not have to be hiring full-time right off the bat. As long as you're getting any extra help and you are saving time because you're already training them for 10 hours a week, all you have to do when you're ready to pay them extra for more hours a week, you just have to say, hey, work more. Or do you want to work more? They're already trained. They're already there. You already spent that time on them. You've already invested your time into training them. And they're ready to go when you are. So make sure you keep that in mind and make sure that you do not stray away from hiring virtual assistants because you don't have enough money to hire them at full time. So where to hire them? This is another big question I get. There's multiple websites to choose from. These are 4 big ones that, I've gotten virtual assistants or workers from every single one of them. And I would say for my eBay dropshipping business, which I know a lot of people like to outsource listing and sourcing first, or sourcing and listing first, which I do think is probably the best way to go about it, I would always go with onlinejobs.ph. And yes, they do have a monthly subscription fee. I do have an affiliate code. I'm not sure if it's even going to be below this video or if it takes money off, but if you want to use it, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys very much. And onlinejobs.ph is definitely where you're going to find the cheaper and more moldable virtual assistants right off the bat. Upwork virtual assistants seem to be more specialized. I've actually never hired like a foreign virtual assistant from Upwork. I hire a lot of like marketing help and things like that, Facebook people from Upwork. Fiverr, I would say I've heard people maybe getting virtual assistants from there, but Fiverr is what I use if I'm going to outsource for like a graphic designer or something like that, kind of a one-off task. Never really somebody that's going to stay for a long-term project. I've never gotten anybody off Fiverr from that. But Facebook groups are definitely an underdog, and people really don't talk about them where, there's virtual assistants advertising themselves all the time there. You do have to make sure you're doing a lot more due diligence than on onlinejobs.ph because they do give you like ratings, and you have to give information to onlinejobs.ph just to be on the website as a freelancer. But Facebook groups, I have gotten 2 virtual assistants, I believe, from Facebook groups, but I did have to vet them out, a decent amount beforehand. And like I said, each website has its pros and cons, but the number one thing you want to be doing is taking them off the platform as soon as possible. So, onlinejobs.ph wants you to pay a monthly subscription. Upwork takes a percentage of, the actual job. But if you can get them off the platform, start talking to them on Skype, Slack, whatever you use, Zoom chat, whatever you use to, communicate with them via either messaging or video or whatever, take them off the platform so you can pay them on your own pay scale and not have to have any of these companies. Fiverr does the same thing. Have any of these companies take a cut of what you're actually paying them, because it just ends up being you losing extra money in the long run. You want to get them, to be your employees, not employees through a different network. And then lastly, the biggest concern of all is security concerns. What if my account gets hacked? What if they come onto my eBay account and delete all of my items or anything like that? And the number one thing you have to realize is that if you go out and hire a pretty well vetted virtual assistant right off the bat, then, these virtual assistants have like jobs. This is their livelihood. They don't want to go back out and work into the 9-to-5 world, because first off, if they're in the Philippines, traffic's awful, commuting to work's awful, having a real job is awful. You want to spend time with your family. You want to be able to run your business from your home, whether you're a freelancer as a virtual assistant or you're somebody trying to do eBay dropshipping like us. So, they're not going to go out and just willingly scheme you nonstop. They have jobs. They have a just reputation to keep up. If you give them a bad review on Upwork or on onlinejobs.ph, other people are going to see that. They can't get that really removed. So they have a reputation to keep up. So first off, number one thing I have to say is stop worrying so much. The best way is to hire correctly. Make sure that you're hiring somebody that seems not sketchy right off the bat. I do have a virtual assistant course, by the way, and inside of that course, I teach you how to hire somebody right off the bat with a specific technique that I do and make sure that they're going to be a good candidate right away. There's also password manager tools, so you can give them specific tools that will give them only access to a certain amount of your passwords, like your logins for whether it's Walmart.com because you're dropshipping Walmart onto eBay, or Zik Analytics or anything like that, where they only have specific access to specific amounts of passwords, but you're not going to give them PayPal passwords or anything like that, or your bank account passwords. Make sure all your passwords are different, by the way. It's one thing I never really did when I was younger, but the more I've gone on in business, I've made sure that my passwords are as secure as possible, because you never know out there. Also, there's virtual assistant portals on many software programs. So if you're dropshipping on Amazon, if you're selling on Amazon, you can give them user permissions where they can only see a certain amount of things. I had user permissions set up so tightly on my Amazon account the other day that I got an A to Z claim, and I didn't realize that my virtual assistant couldn't even see that I got it, and I didn't realize I had it because I didn't check my account in time. And I was like mad at my VA because I was like, why didn't you tell me that I had an A to Z claim? I could have won this. And then it was literally because she couldn't see it because I had it set up too tight. You can do virtual assistant access on PayPal. eBay actually did say, I believe that they are putting out some sort of virtual assistant or user permissions in the future. So that's going to be also very, very, very helpful for people that have, worries about the security of their account, or what if somebody comes in there. But honestly, eventually over time, if you hire correctly, you can give your virtual assistants pretty much access to anything. Mine have my credit cards for buying my items. Mine have access to my eBay account through my email and password. Mine have access to pretty much everything because I trust them and I vetted them out over time, and they've been with me for a while now. So, it is really, you can put all these checks and balances in place, but over time, it's definitely just advantageous to make sure that you get on a level with them, that you trust them in doing this. They are your workers and they should be trustworthy. I mean, you can't be constantly living your life expecting that your workers are going to scheme you. Yes, you can put checks in place to prevent it, but you want to make sure that you're not just constantly. That's the number one thing on your mind. And also, just keep checks on your credit card transactions. With manual eBay dropshipping now, we're not doing that many orders per day in order to get, a decent amount of profit. So it's a lot easier to keep track of your credit card information, your credit card transactions. Also, if they're trying to buy something and send it to the Philippines, there's probably a good chance that your credit card company will put just a notice out there, or a fraud alert on it that, somebody's trying to scheme you, or your credit card information is sending something to Philippines or something like that. There's a lot of things that you can put in place. Well, there's a lot of things that even just credit card companies in general put in place in order to make sure that they're preventing fraud, because they don't want fraud either. So, make sure that you're checking up on your transactions. Make sure nothing seems fishy. Everything should be coming from either your software costs or where you're buying your items from. And that's pretty much it. I always try to keep my business cards separated from my personal cards. Then, my VAs don't have access to any of my personal card information, just my business credit cards and charge cards, Amex cards, whatever it is. So that's the number one thing that I have to say about security concerns. They are not as big of a deal, and I really think it's just people trying to psych themselves out in order to get, be okay with themselves that they're not hiring virtual assistants. And I think that making excuses as to not hiring virtual assistants is the number one downfall of anybody that's actually trying to start a dropshipping business, because they try to do everything themselves. They get burnt out. They say, oh, it wasn't for me. It takes too long. But in reality, you just weren't doing the right things in order to succeed in the first place. So in conclusion, I'm going to go out there and say you're literally losing money not spending money on hiring a virtual assistant. You are guaranteed losing money because you are spending way too much time doing things that you don't need to do, and you're working in your business and not on your business, like I said earlier. And secondly, security concerns are not that big of a deal, as I broke down the last slide. There's many sites to hire from. I listed off 3 legitimate virtual assistant sites, also Facebook groups, which is definitely a viable option as long as you source them out well and just pre-vet these virtual assistants. You can do more than just drop shipping work. And that's one thing I didn't really touch upon. Like I have virtual assistants running my Instagram. I've made almost zero posts for my Instagram. My Instagram's grown to we're at 20,000 subscribers or followers between 2 different accounts in the last 4 months. And that's all from virtual assistant based work. Thumbnails, I outsource thumbnails sometimes. Managing the Facebook group is outsourced to a certain degree, and the group, the main group, not the private group for the members. And there's just other things that are outsourced behind the scenes that anything you can think of, you can outsource as long as there's a way to do so. And you don't have to hire full-time at first, like I said. And these are great. Virtual assistants are great for manual eBay dropshipping tasks, as in sourcing, listing, customer service, and eventually ordering. And one last thing to say about ordering, make sure that that's like the last thing you outsource. I've always outsourced ordering to a very, very, very trustworthy virtual assistant, and that was one of the last things that I finally let go of. I did hold on to that a little bit longer than I think I needed to, but make sure that that's the last thing if you're going to give up any of these things to a virtual assistant. You know what I mean? So please post any of your questions below. I will be sure to answer them all, as I've done in every video over the last 5 months. Please don't be afraid to ask your questions. I know there's a lot of, confusion about virtual assistants out there. People afraid to take the step. And the one thing I can say in business that you cannot be afraid to take these leaps and jumps, because if you're afraid to take a risk, then you're not going to succeed in business. You need to be able to take risks, calculated risks, and make sure that you have a plan of action if something does go wrong, but make sure that you are at least going out there and taking the risk or taking the step that you're afraid to do, because that's the only way to grow in life and in business. So one last thing, I do have a virtual assistant course. It's over 4 hours of content. I believe it's like 35, 40 videos, and it's going to go over everything I teach in the hiring process and everything I do in the hiring process to make sure that you don't hire a VA and then, they're bad, and then you fire them a month later, you hold on to them for too long, you fire them a month later, and then you hire another one, and you just keep going through this repetitive process of not finding a good VA. I teach how to completely circumvent that, and how to get a virtual assistant that's great right off the bat, how to give them access to specific things, set up their own email accounts, everything for them to make sure that everything is streamlined and run perfectly for them. So also, if you found, check out the link in the description for that. It's $149, and I believe it's worth every single penny for you guys. And if you found this video helpful, please be sure to subscribe one last time to this channel. I know there's a lot of lurkers out there. I'm the same way. If you subscribe, you're going to help my channel grow. You're going to help, me get more information out there about how to succeed online financially in 2019 and start one of the easiest businesses to start out there in this day and age right away. So, and also make sure to hit the bell notification, because if you do not hit the bell notification, you will not get notified of every new video that I launch, like this one, and that's the only way to actually get a notification from YouTube. YouTube doesn't guarantee a notification any other way. So thank you guys very much. I'm going to be in Puerto Rico next week. I'm not sure how many videos I'm going to be able to drop, but I'm going to try to pre-record some of them so I can launch them over time. So I leave for Puerto Rico in 2 days, and then, or on, Thursday night. So today's Thursday night, and then I'll be there until next Wednesday, I believe. So hopefully I can get a live in. Hopefully I can get another video out for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you guys, and have a good one.